Hello all, this is a continuation of last PPT, it is personality theories. We will see second theory, that is psychoanalytic theory. So this psychoanalytic theory is proposed by Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud is an Viennese physician who thought his patients' problems were more emotional than physical. So he began his work by using this hypnosis and eventually switched into psychoanalysis. Freud has many followers, namely Jung, Adler, to name a few. More than 100 years later, his work is still influential and very controversial. So as you can see, this is Sigmund Freud, a professor who proposed psychoanalytic theory. So Sigmund introduces three states, that is ID, ego and superego states, where an individual biological instincts were identified, which is these three states, which is a combination of conscious, unconscious, and preconscious stages. We will discuss one by one. That is first one, ID stage. It is an innate biological instincts and urges, a self-serving and irrational. It is totally an unconscious state. It works on pleasure principle, wishes to have its desires satisfied now without waiting and regardless of the consequences. Next one is ego, which is an executive level which directs ID energies. It is partially conscious and partially unconscious stage. It works on reality principle. It delays action and it is practical or appropriate. So next one is super ego stage. It judge or censor for thoughts and actions of the ego. So super ego comes from our parents or caregivers. A guilt comes from the super ego. Two parts under super ego are conscience and ego idea. Conscience is that it reflects actions for which a person has been punished. And ego ideal, this is the second part of superego, which reflects behavior once parents approve or rewarded. Example, what we should do or be. Coming to the levels of awareness, conscious, pre-conscious, and unconscious states. Conscious is that everything you are aware of at a given moment, we can feel, we can be aware of. Next is pre-conscious stage, a material that can be easily be brought into awareness stage. Unconscious state is that it holds repressed memories and emotions and that the instinct drives. It is totally unconscious. Persons may be not aware of. This is the pyramid of the three states, ID, ego, and superego. You can see ID is a state fully, which is an unconscious stage, and ego, it is a combination of unconscious, preconscious, and conscious. And last, superego, it is also a combination of unconscious, preconscious, and conscious state. While coming to neurotic anxiety, it is caused by ID impulses, and the ego can barely control. Next is moral anxiety. It comes from threats of punishment from the superego stage. Defense mechanism. It is a process used by the ego to distort reality and protect a person from anxiety. Some of the examples of defense mechanisms are regression, displacement, sublimation, reaction formation, projection, and rationalization. Regression is that an ego seeks the security of an earlier developmental period in the face of stress. Displacement is that ego shifts unacceptable feelings from one object to another, which is a more acceptable object. Sublimation, ego replaces an unacceptable impulse with a socially acceptable one. Reaction formation, ego transforms an unacceptable motive or feeling into its opposite. Projection, ego attributes personal shortcomings, problems, and faults to others. Rationalization, Ego justifies an unacceptable motive by giving a false acceptable reason for behavior. So thank you all.